Hey, welcome back to this week's Mortgage Athletes. Tom and I apologize. We missed last week. We both had situations we had to take care of, but we're back. And this week we have Chris Goodman from Legendary Home Loans down the coast here a little bit to talk to us and get some feedback from what's going on in his area and some of the things he's doing for the loan officers here, some of the things he's doing with his real estate agents. Maybe get some tips and tricks there. And then we'll talk about some of the market conditions and some of the things we see going on as we start getting closer here to spring. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate the invitation and super pumped to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Tom said he had some really good stories. Tom, do you want to lead us into lead Chris off with some softballs?
Well, I'm going to throw up a couple softballs. Number one, it was always and still is an honor to watch you perform your craft, Chris. You're one of the best. For those who don't know, Chris is in the greater Melbourne area. Chris is a branch manager. He leads others, but his ability to do sales calls and make relationships in the field is incredible. But as we've always said, the common theme that separates most of us today from others is his hand-to-hand combat sales abilities to make the partnerships and relationships in the field, apply the science of providing influence and value of working with his real estate partners. I've gone to a couple of his broker opens that he's been a sponsor there and working the crowd, and it does a phenomenal job. So, Chris, I tip my cap to you. Obviously, you're better than average at production. You've got phenomenal numbers there, and I've always admired your work. So look forward to having fun with you today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you again for having me. This could not be more appropriately titled as Mortgage Athletes because Tom Reber is the football coach I never had. So I wasn't. I was a pseudo athlete as a young man, but I was never disciplined enough to excel as an athlete. But I did excel in my career. And that's when I did get disciplined as I got older. And I've had some amazing mentors along the way. Even the first person I ever worked for as an assistant, I grew up in the business as an assistant to somebody, was my first job in the mortgage business. And he was a total jerk. But he taught me so much of what to do and what not to do. And I still have practices in place today that he taught me. And then I had some other mentors along the way, Tom being one of them here over in my more recent sort of decade in the business. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because that was on my mind this morning. So, but it's been a great career. I'm super grateful for the business that I'm in. I always wanted to be a lawyer when I was growing up, but somehow the mortgage business finds some of us. So anyway,
Chris, I want to tap out because Tom kind of led off, and you're running a team there, and if you could approach like Tom said, you working the room when you go to an event or you hold a broker's open. My guess is you're going with a plan. You're going with, this is what I want to get out of it. You're not just, I think a lot of our friends just kind of show up and think that, oh, hey, I'm here. But you actually have to have a plan and a goal when you go to these events. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, so authenticity and the desire to be there to help other people is my plan. When you go to get business and you're coming as a salesy approach, I just think that can be ultimately a turnoff, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think that you always want to lead with, one of my beliefs is that we're all one real estate family. When we talk about real estate agents, mortgage folks, title, insurance, our inspectors, I literally look at us as one big family and we need to support each other. Right. So I'm always a big believer that, like, when I go out, whether it's to, visit somebody in the field or support them online. I do a lot of social and digital media efforts, which I'd be happy to chat about because I have some
sure.
very
I'm definitely going to start following you here.
I have very, very strong opinions and feelings on that, which I'll share in a minute. But I think the desire to truly lift our partners in business up is my plan, right? So when I go somewhere, I'm not there, to hand out cards. I'm there to support the person that is essentially facilitating that event. Just to show them some love, man. You know, there's people that are out there hustling on the weekends, or if they're doing like an open during the week, that they just need support, you know, and some good vibes to help with the energy.
Recently I was following a lot of Carl White and so forth, and not that it's rocket scientist, but obviously he breaks down, you know, like what do you talk at a coffee, you know, your first coffee meeting or something, and that sort of thing. When you're training a new loan officer, and hopefully there's some listening on here for some tips, again, whether it's that coffee appointment or so forth, what is your, you know, icebreaker? I think a lot of us are pretty good when we're down the road a little bit, but what's that first mile like, you know, with that real estate agent when you're, you know, hopefully maybe approaching them for the first time at a social, or even if you do get a coffee appointment with them?
So I think that there is an opportunity for loan officers in today's market to change their business and change their life, and it's called social media, which I refer to as media nowadays, right? Like I hate to even call it social anymore, because social and digital media have become mainstream platforms for most people in their evenings and throughout their day and in their spare time. And the opportunity for individual loan officers to create a brand, and by the way, personal brand is built on social, in my opinion. We have such a huge opportunity to build a personal brand on social if done with a framework that really helps elevate them, and when you lead with value. And what that helps do, and what that's really done for me and my team, is it creates a presence for you before you even get to that coffee appointment or before you get to that networking event. So there's been just a wonderful sort of door that gets cracked when you're constantly out there leading with value. And, you know, obviously I'm not saying the entertainment part of social isn't good, right? Like I'm not going to shake my booty and dance and talk about the mortgage business. So when you see my short,
Tom.
Yes, I'll do that for Tom, and we have done that over some cocktails.
Thank you. I was just having a little minor meltdown about the yellow dog and shaking your bonbons or something. Come on,
you know, little sapphire, right? Little sapphire.
Yeah, a little sapphire, the yellow dog.
But it does give us such a huge opportunity to become a brand, or to give us recognition in our business within our market, right? And that makes the coffee appointment, the networking meeting, the seeing a realtor at a store, it opens that door to have such a warm conversation. And at the end of the day, always the best approach to any interaction with somebody in our business is just to listen to them, ask them about their business and their life, and just kick back and listen to what they have to say, and then just build a relationship from there. It's not about, you're not scoring on the first date. This is a long-term partnership.
You mean you're just not going to get a loan because you said hello? Tracy, the one other thing that I love about Chris is when I've watched him do his performance in the field, not only does he work the room, that I find extremely important, he practices what he preaches by making what I like to say, those introductory questions of intrigue, and making it about the agents and what is their business. And I can tell you, I've witnessed it. I do practice some of the same methodologies. As we've said in the past, I interview people for a living. When Chris, a little trick that we've learned over the years, and Tracy and I've heard it firsthand from a guy named Dan Quiggle, is how long do you have to get somebody's attention in the right way?
Right.
You basically have 8 seconds. And because in 8 seconds, they typically mentally swipe you on their phone, just like they do. They swipe. Yes, and you've got to somehow be some sort of sticky in the first 8 seconds. I mean, realize you have a great physique and you got a wonderful smile and a wonderful handshake, but you want to be a little bit sticky in the first 8 seconds. And so one thing that I use is I tell people all the time, I interview people for a living, and they're like, holy cow, what does that mean? And they're like, well, I interview people for a living. My job is to find out some common ground with you to see what we can uncover the needs, the potential partnerships, and find that nugget of opportunity between us both, because we're both here for the right reasons. Now we want to make sure that we're meaningful and significant to each other.
And that's easy to do when you have a genuine care about people in general. When it comes from a place of just like loving people and really being intrigued by people and the way they run their business and their life, it actually just comes. You know what I mean? It comes naturally. And the other thing I say is watch what the salesy people do, or watch what other people do, and don't do that. Right? Like, don't come up and say, "I'm Christopher Goodman with Legendary Home Loans." Like, just, "I'm Christopher Goodman. How are you?" You know what I mean? It's going to come up, but don't be a commercial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about reframing the way that you approach somebody. Because if I approach you and say, "Hey, I'm Christopher Goodman, Legendary Home Loans," it's like he's going to try to sell me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Just, again, it comes natural when you just have an authentic, intentional desire to get to know somebody and understand what they're doing. I always say to people, like, I want to learn about you. I want to hear your plans, your goals, and I just want to hear about what got you in the business. Let's chat. You know what I mean? Or something like that. That sounds
right. Tell us a little bit, expand a little bit. You said you'd like to talk about social media. You're leveraging it. So what's your game plan there? What are you doing?
Right. So, again, as I said before, I think that there is a massive opportunity for loan officers to build their brand, create highlight their business, highlight themselves, and talk about what it is that we do every day, so they can become the credit. They can give themselves the credibility that they need to do what we do. I think over the years, people have gotten to a point where they think like getting a home loan is just so easy. It's like getting a credit card. But let's be real. Home lending is high finance. And we've actually made it look easy, which is a good thing, by the way, right? Like, we make it look easy, that people think it's just so easy to get a home loan.
Right.
But it's high finance, and there's a lot to it. And I think we have an opportunity to use social media to teach. Simple as that. If you look me up on Insta, you'll find me at C Goodman Home, and you'll see I have a library of short form reels that are usually anywhere from 25 to 45 seconds, where I'm just teaching finance tips that I either was not taught in high school, because none of us were, or they're born out of opportunities that I missed out on. I'm 45 now, and I thought I was part of Motley Crue in my 20s, and I was not focused on managing money and making good decisions. So I now learn from that, and I try to teach from a place of personal wealth, of legacy, of growing your wealth through real estate. So you'll see a lot of that on there. So anyway, the framework is difficult.
You have a new follower. I just followed
awesome.
you.
Awesome. Glad you found me. But I heard a quote the other day that said, what did it say? So I don't want to take credit for this, and I can't remember who said it, but it was something like, if you want to be related to something, talk about it once in a while. If you want to be known for something, talk about it a couple of times a week. But if you want to be the only person known for something, you have to talk about it daily. And these platforms give us the most amazing opportunity to do this. Everybody's worried about going viral on a video, and it's like, don't worry about going viral. Even if you have 150 people within your network that see a video that you put out talking about the opportunity that exists today for buyers that didn't last year through a 2-1 buy down, which you brought up earlier, by the way, like a temporary buy down, and you do just a quick teaching of that, you have 150 people that see that. Wouldn't it be amazing if you had 150 people walk in your office today and you taught that? So what's the difference if it's on social or in person? To me, 150 is amazing, but you will have some that go to 5,000 or 6,000. And even though they might not be local, you're still teaching and you're still becoming visible.
Well, I think, one of the things I do is YouTube Shorts is where I go. And obviously with the podcast, I have a lot of content from the real estate agents, but I plug in there under my education playlist, the things, talking about our business, because I have to remind people I still do mortgages. But they're timeless. They're on there. It's like in a library. And you can share that link when someone has a question with it, to show them where the library is and how to look up the books. Or maybe they search it and they run across your library, and now you are the expert because you're the one giving them the advice.
It's like you're working while you're sleeping, by the way, because this information is being out there taught while you're not necessarily teaching it directly. I agree with you. And that's even something I'm improving on every day, because I have to be more conscious of guiding people to my platforms, right? Like, just like you said, so now when I, meet a new potential customer, I'm guiding them to my platform so they can now see these videos that I'm posting, teaching them about the temporary buy down options, or talking about investing in real estate for the long play, or talking about that 3% down to buy your first home, but then converting it to a rental a year later or something like that, you know?
Right.
So good stuff.
No, I
Well,
totally
Chris,
agree. We got to get the old man on Facebook here. He's a little attentive. He's a LinkedIner.
Times are changing.
yeah, I'm a little slow to the game, but there's a couple things you mentioned to me, Chris, that I thought was pretty amazing so far, and that's legacy. You know what you've done. You mentioned your age, and of course, I'm no spring chicken, obviously, but your legacy and what you do and your body of work ties into being a 5-star mortgage athlete. So I kind of look at, what tools do you have to become a 5-star mortgage athlete? And, having knowledge and experience are super important. Being hungry and aggressive to help others is important. But the education part, the putting the seeds out there to grow the first-time home buyers, to provide influence and value. Because the other thing I wrote down that I thought was incredibly important is the partnership selling today.
Right.
We're so entrenched with having to do collaborative sales. This collaboration of sales today is what makes you sticky. So you don't get, hey, I'm going to give 3 cards and hope they call you, Chris. It becomes 1 card. You have to talk to Chris, because Chris gets my transactions. He's going to get you as a buyer, and he's a part of our collaboration sell. That's the win that you brought up. And that makes you a 5-star mortgage athlete, because your pull-through percentage based on influence and value and collaborative sales, I'm sure if I had to have to do the math on it, Chris, once you get involved, there's a 97% chance or a 99% chance it's going to get done because of the collaboration selling that you do. And that's what separates you from the competition by far, my opinion. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I'm very passionate about what you just discussed. I'm super grateful, and I feel super blessed that I'm the age that I am in this business, because I've been in the business now 17 years. So I'm at the middle range, right? Like where I know all of the old school sort of relationship building activities and mortgage activities, but I'm also so into the evolution of where this business is going. And I believe that there's value to both. And, but I'm also at a point where I value close, deep, authentic relationships greater than the wide cast net of sales that I used to. Maybe to a fault, because there probably are moments where, I don't jump on, the salesy opportunity, but I believe, and it's more fulfilling to me to have long-term, deep relationships with people that my values align themselves with. Because let's be real, we work in a very divisive business at times. You're not going to get along with everybody. You're just not going to jive. And that might not have anything to do with personality. It could be the way you conduct business, whatever it is. It's just values, value driven, right? And I like the fact that I'm in a place where I can be more selective. And one of my big passions right now, which you just mentioned, is teaching people, because I see a lot especially over the last couple of years. There's a lot of individual loan officers. I'll just use my market. I'm right here in the Space Coast, where the rockets are getting shot off and Elon Musk is playing around here. And it's a really, really, really exciting place to be. We're growing. We're still affordable. We're on the coast, so it's a beautiful spot. And we have literally like 50 years of long-term growth ahead of us. It's amazing. And we have high-paying jobs here. And we have a lot of these individual loan officers that just got in the business in recent years that I see scattered around my county. And I literally I have it in my heart. I haven't wrote this down yet, and I need to write it down as sort of my mission moving forward, but not from a place of recruiting. If somebody feels that we're a good match and they want to join the team, we'll explore that, and that's great. Yeah. But I just feel bad, because I know that part of my success has been being around people that have helped lift me up and helped teach me the ropes. So I don't understand how these people are flailing around by themselves, especially in a market like this where things are changing. I think it's a wonderful market, but I think things are changing so fast that they don't know what's going on.
Chris, are you
used to say, Tom, it's like a whipsaw.
That's right.
I think you're leading to, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I have seen recently, I'm seeing turnover where some really green loan officers, less than a year experience, and they're being brought in by some of these loan companies who are basically making their own individual brokerage. So they're operating almost themselves with no one in their office, because there is nobody else in their office
Agreed.
that has experience. Is that what you're referring to?
I do see that as well. Yeah. Like I've said for years that, the beauty of the mortgage business is there's a model out there for everybody. There's like no wrong or right to this thing, in my opinion. However, I think that some companies are not structuring how they're building like a local team or a branch. And you're right. I see a lot of these one-off people that are being placed in like, a sales manager or a branch manager role by a company. Meanwhile, they have zero experience themselves.
Right.
Or just there's even some cases where a larger company, I've seen in a couple of instances, have put people in place to grow a team, and they're not necessarily there yet because they haven't perfected their own processes or understand how to nurture relationships. And I meet a lot of people through my networking where they're just, and I feel bad because I can't even imagine. I've been in the business 17 years. I need a team around me. I'm not one of those people that can lock themselves in a closet and work as an individual person. There are some out there that can do that, and that's great for them. But some of these people I meet, they almost come across as hungry for some energy and for some fuel.
I've noticed, and I think, to give credit to United Wholesale, I worked with a lot of those people at Quicken Loans that now work at United Wholesale, some of them for 10 plus years now. They are so good at what they do.
Yeah.
They can make a really poor broker look really good.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other side, that broker still has to, again, nurture relationships, be credible, be visible, talk a talk. Yes, UWM can handle the process and the workflow,
Right.
but you still have to consistently nurture relationships. And that's something that no matter what your process is like behind the scenes, only the face can do. And it's nice when you have a team around you where you have a force with you to help build over time. And there's a lot to learn in this business. It's not easy just because you're social or you have a lot of relationships. It's not easy to just get in the business and do it.
I'm looking forward to clicking in and see what you're doing social media wise. And I hope you cross-reference us, because you and I are in the same camp as far as that's concerned. What are some of the things that you're doing? Obviously you're doing it sounds like you're doing some educational reels and videos and so forth. To me, that should be standard procedure for, especially as us guys have been doing it 17 years or more, to educate the others. But what are some of the things? Are you doing anything social media wise to add value to your realtor referral partners relationship with social media?
I mean, it's part of the job now, right? Like managing social media and working in social media has become a part of my daily process, where it's not just recording and editing the short form educational reels. There's a significant amount of engagement that happens. So I'm building relationships or deepening relationships through social, which I find fun, by the way, especially after the heels of 2 years of nobody going anywhere or seeing each other. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% back into networking myself anyway. And I'm okay with that, actually, just because I have a lot going on in my personal life. So I'm a different person than I was a few years back as far as being able to attend a lot of networking. So I see great benefit in being able to nurture relationships digitally, right? So, it's literally a multi-punch approach, right? It's the educational piece. It's the engagement piece. And I engage through posts and through stories. I use stories at a very, very, very high level every single day, which creates a lot of engagement and a lot of conversations.
I'd like to catch you offline, maybe in the next couple of days. This afternoon's busy, and how you're actually doing that.
Yes, and to that point, you asked a good question. Like, how am I leveraging or relationships? Is I'm trying to teach this more and more. I'm having more and more conversations around this exact topic with real estate agents, with other loan officers out there, to share what I'm learning. And, I'm not perfect at this. Nobody is. As a matter of fact, I'm part of a mastermind group that I've been a part of for the last year that has helped me with this framework. And it's been an amazing progress. It's given me significant progress that I never would have had. And that's something I encourage all loan officers to do, is surround yourself with, like you mentioned, for example, Carl White obviously is a great example. I actually attended some of Carl White's events back in 2016, and he changed my life because he changed my mindset as far as not having to do everything. Like he gave me permission to hand off some of the process related items in my process to my assistant, which I had, and who was fully capable. And I felt like I had to do everything, but he literally changed my life. But things are changing. So I'm now part of a different group that appeals more to a creative side of me, and that I'm able to deploy and enhance my business through this work now. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow. That's the optimization.
Optimization, right?
Optimization of the process. You being a better production athlete rather than somebody who's tending to the back shop.
Right.
Probably the biggest challenge what I see with mortgage athletes is they get caught up with the equipment and all the other pieces behind the scenes instead of going out there and doing what it takes to be bankable and scoring points.
Right.
And scoring opportunities and relationships and maximizing those. And to your point, deepening those relationships and looking for more. Right. I always like to say, when we go to an event like you've hosted many times, do you walk away with one person that is significant that you can follow back up with and provide the value and let them get to know Chris? A couple things that I say out there in the field all the time is, number one, yes, we can. Number two, talk to Tommy. That's it.
Right.
Yes, we can. Talk to Tommy. That's it. Yes. And I work on those things all the time because as I like to say, I interview people. What's your name? What's your sign? Where are you from? Tie that into what your needs are. Let me think about those with you. Let's explore together, come up with a way to make it happen. And we have combustion. And guess what? The sincerity of that, to your point, Chris, which I've witnessed, is very, very sticky, and it makes everything much better. And then to your point, when you really split it apart, there's people that say, heck yeah, I'm going to do business with Chris Goodman. And this is why, because he helps me with my process through the collaborative selling piece. Once you become an expert with that, you become that 5-star mortgage athlete. Now, you brought up a good point. How do you take the social media piece out? Because I was talking to a fellow who's got a master's degree in the metaverse, which is a whole other program. You talk about social media. I'm going to take you to another level. So there's a fella that I played baseball with his daddy. His name's Willie Lee, one of the best left-handed hitters I've ever seen, and ran like a 4.3 40. I was one of the few people who hit a ground ball at third base, and I threw him out at first base. And I said, see, I got that. I don't care how fast you run. I got hands. But his son, who's a better athlete, played college football at Texas A&M. I was having a really crazy, wonderful conversation with him. I said, I want to buy mortgage space on the metaverse. And he goes, I can help you with that. Imagine having this as a meme in the metaverse saying the mortgage.
That mug.
I'll polish it up. I mean, a meme looks really good. You can make it look really good.
Those new AI memes look. Those new AI.
Yeah, you can take a short fat guy like myself and make me look great. But anyway, he was all about the phrase, if you have questions about mortgages, talk to Tommy, and you get to talk to this meme interactively through the goggles of the metaverse.
Yeah.
I was blown away. And he said, Tom, absolutely, there's a sandbox for that. And you can make a mortgage store in the metaverse.
Right.
I was just like, holy cow. He goes, if you can dream it, we can do it. The only thing you can't do in the metaverse is smell, taste, and touch. That's it. You want to go look at Italy and go explore the Colosseum? It can happen today. We can have you there in less than 2 seconds. But they seem to think that that's going to change the world. We'll see. Social media has evolved the world for sure.
It's happening. And it's a huge opportunity for our business right now.
Yep.
Tremendous. If we could, you said something in there that made me think, if we had an opportunity every day to tell people what we do and that we're here to help, we have that opportunity. Not only every day, multiple times a day, because you can create a brand around that in through different ways to communicate it, right? There's different ways to show that we're helping people every day. You don't have to say, I'm in the mortgage business, I'm here to help you. You could say that literally, but then you could also grab your phone. I do this, and you'll see this, Tracy, in stories. I grab my phone sometimes throughout the day, and I turn it on me, and I say, hey, I was just talking to this customer and their realtor. I helped negotiate a deal with a temporary buy down, and here's what that scenario looked like. And I just quickly teach it 30 or 40 seconds, boom, post it. And I get tons of engagement and questions around it. All I'm doing is sharing what I'm experiencing. I'm not sitting there with my creative dunce cap on trying to manufacture something. I'm sharing things that we experience every day throughout the day.
Oh, I already got the phrase for it, Chris. It's called mortgage medication. Take 2 of these. See how it works.
Yes.
Mortgage medication. I like it.
Mortgage. Is that our slogan for this week? Mortgage
medication. There's our nugget for the week. So, Chris, Tracy writes down the little things that pop out of my head that are of significance.
That must be a very long list.
Well, I think our favorite so far is the Serengeti of opportunity that we all live in.
Yes.
Love that.
And
of opportunity.
I've had many a times to sit down with Chris at the Yellow Dog on the Intercoastal down in Melbourne and enjoy a moment while he worked the room with about 100 agents and crushed it. Just phenomenal sales artist. That's another thing we can look at is the artistry of how you do your job. I watched a podcast that there's Tommy Time, which is 5 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock. 4 days a week that's mine. I look at Chris Goodman almost Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every morning, where I will click on his LinkedIn and he sees me. I know it, but that's Tommy Time. And actually one time we had a little conversation. He's like, it must be Tommy Time. Yes, it is, because I'm engaging. And so I do that, and I catch up a lot of stuff and some of the stuff that Chris does. Chris is super motivational. He sends out motivational posts all the time, which are nuggets of positive information. One of the foundations of this podcast, Chris, is professional respect and courtesy at the highest levels.
Love that.
And that's what we do. And Tracy is showing it not only on the mortgage space, but does it on the Real Estate Excellence podcast, which he's had over 120 amazing interviews with local real estate rock stars. And so we kind of broke off with that. That's kind of the background of this for you, Chris. Awesome. And I'm so glad that you chose to be a part of our show today. Man, it's very, very cool. Let's kind of touch about the market. Where do we think things are going to go, in your opinion, Chris? What do you think the future of rates and houses and stuff?
So I'm so excited that rates went up, and I'm so excited that we had a pullback in house prices.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we weren't affected by it. My team and we are, right? I mean, we are, but when you look at the big picture, rates going up were the best thing to happen for buyers. Yeah. There's opportunities right now for buyers that have not existed, not just in the last year, but in the last couple of years. Yep. Right. We know that, guys, right? Like, the battle, the over asking, low inventory situation that we continue to experience right now, which I'm actually kind of excited about, has pushed buyers out of the market for the last couple of years. Those folks that did need that little extra help to get into a house, and that is back. And I couldn't be more excited about it. So, we obviously are seeing the return, or we have seen over the last 6 months, the return of credits or seller concessions to help buyers pay for their closing costs, or to fund what's the return of the temporary buy down. That existed when I first got in the business many years ago. And I tell people it never went away. It's just been in hibernation since the market has been so good for so long. I believe, and I probably you'll echo this, Tom. You might be a little bit more data driven than I am, but I think we're going to see rates come down as inflation comes down. Simple as that. I don't know what we're going to see over the next 4 to 8 weeks per se, but on a grand scheme, I believe that as we get a grip on inflation, which we slowly are this year, we're going to see rates come down with inflation. And yeah, simple as that. So, so the way that I encourage my team to approach it, and I approach my actual production business when I'm talking to customers, is just one customer at a time, one number at a time, right? We look at the current market. I can't control what the rate is or what it's going to be. So, we have a very thorough and deep conversation at the time of pre-approval on where your payment range is today based on current market rates. And are you comfortable with that? Do you qualify for it? Let's talk about it. And I'll share with you what the opportunities will be in the future. Simple as that. Customer to customer, So we
Tracy,
can't worry.
that's hand-to-hand selling at its best. Let's go.
It. We can't worry about, whatever, the crazy, the craziness of
that's
what might
facts
be.
And figures.
And to be honest with you, we're seeing, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this because here's how I say it. I love being in Florida because people are still flocking here from out of state and from in state, right? There's a lot of people flocking from, like South Florida or the West Coast where it's just gotten really, really expensive. They're coming to our market, and we happen to be here in the Space Coast. We have a lot of engineering firms, government contracting firms, and a lot of high paying jobs. So we have great household income formations. And over the history of home lending, the number one factor that drives home buying is not rates, it's household income formation. And here in Brevard County, we actually have a fantastic surge of that. So I'm so excited for our long play here in our county that, you just gotta hold tight, maybe not to spend as much money as a family right now.
Yeah.
Oh, novel concept. Total cost benefit approach. Holy cow.
So can I share a personal story with you guys real quick?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So we listed, so we're selling our personal home.
Okay.
My personal home, we are selling it. It went on, what is today? Wednesday. Our home went on the market officially Monday. We are under contract already with 10 grand over asking, a waiver of an appraisal, and they wanted us to take it off the market right away. So that's why they did all that stuff. So I know that's not necessarily the total norm, but the fact that that's still happening gives a good indication that if you have a house in a desirable area and you've maintained it well, and it's ready to move in for some people, like that's what a lot of people want. You just have it nice. It's not perfect too, by the way. I got some issues with it, so it's not perfect, but it's about as perfect as, for this family, and we're moving full steam ahead. So there's still some instances like that because of the inventory challenge. But then at the same time, for those first-time buyers, I'm seeing in my market, you can actually get a house between $250,000 and $300,000 and negotiate on it. And that to me is a wonderful opportunity for buyers.
Get some of that up here. Yeah.
Where are you, Tracy?
I'm basically in northern edge of St. Johns County, St. Augustine.
You're in. Okay. Yep. I get it. Yeah. It's just an interesting. And by the way, one of my future reels, one of my future videos I'm going to make is the hook is going to be how I made $200,000 buying my house at the wrong time. Because I bought that house. I bought that house that I'm selling. Get ready for this date, guys. July 3rd, 2006, when everybody thought I was crazy. So you want to talk about a story about the long play in real estate and how you can win in real estate no matter when you buy, as long as you approach it for the long play.
You got to get on the bus sometime.
That's the message I am very passionate about, especially for young people, because I wish I had pursued home ownership I did buy a home in my 20s, but I only owned it for like 2 years and sold it. And I wasn't thinking about long play. Right. And that's something I'm very, very passionate about for first-time buyers right now.
Well, that's a couple of things that, the agents that I'm talking to right now in this market in getting those type of offers that you got on your house is for the consumers to be listening to their agents and pricing the home correctly.
Right.
If the home is priced correctly, you will get multiple offers and get $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over because you priced it correctly that first weekend and got going. Yeah.
That's a very good point. You're right. I was not being greedy and we were being very realistic.
Yeah, you priced it right. The buyers came in and of course, obviously you kept up the home and
Location. Yep. Wins every time.
Yep.
Right. That helps.
That's it's been around since the beginning of real estate.
Excuse me.
Well, guys, we're at about 40 minutes, so we're 10 minutes over our normal time. Does anyone
Awesome.
want to finish up with some closing thoughts?
Well, I'll kick it off, and then we'll let Chris have the final denouement. We work really, really hard to develop the experience and knowledge to provide the amazing content and information to our borrowers, our real estate partners, and others. And I always like to say you're worth every penny what you do and how you do it because of the experience and the seasoning of what you present. And so I tell people all the time, we make a better than average wage, but it didn't start that way. We worked really, really hard to get these opportunities, build the momentum, to build the processes and the trust to the market to be able to deliver the information and knowledge that we need to help complete the transaction. So with that, I want to turn it over to Chris and let Chris, knock it out. Let's go.
No, thank you guys for having me again. This is awesome. I absolutely love this business. I always have. This has been a wonderful career for me, and I'm going to be working for a long time moving forward. And, I'm very passionate about loan officers surrounding themselves with others that will help them leverage their business and their life. And you're absolutely right. This is a life-changing business. It can be. If you dive in, if you are authentic and you're intentional and you show true passion and find your passion within the business, whatever it is that you like to do within our business, it's just a lot of fun. And, these cycles are even fun. As I said before, I couldn't be more happy for this pullback in our business because you can't propel forward again without a pullback, right? You can't just keep rising. No asset rises continuously forever. So realtors and mortgage lenders should be super excited about this shift. You know what I mean? But I'll leave it with this. As I said before, I believe that there is an opportunity right now for loan officers to literally change their life, and they have to find the courage to dive into leveraging their business on social and creating a brand for themselves. And there's a lot of help out there to help people teach the framework to do this. So you just have to surround yourself with the people that can show you how to do this. And people are interested in hearing what you have to say and in you teaching it. But there's truly a science to this. You guys ever watch Bar Rescue? There's like a science to running a bar, and you wouldn't think those two align themselves. It's no different in our business. There really is a science, because we can quickly turn people off, or we can quickly become the credible people or person that people want to listen to and go to for advice. So huge opportunity right now as our business continues to evolve. And I'm just psyched overall about 2023. So thank you guys for having me.
Excellent.
Great show. Tracy, thank you so much.
No problem. Chris, I'm gonna email you the video link, because I'm sure you could probably cut some reels of yourself right out of this.
That'd be amazing. I would love that. Thank you.
And definitely make sure we link up on Facebook, because obviously we can repost this on your page as well.
Awesome.
All right.
That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
You too.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.